welcome to week 10, 11. I don't know what it is at this point. The shit's just getting frustrating. Um, Welcome to the Chicago Clubhouse. This is the podcast where we think we know what we're talking about, but we don't know shit, or maybe we do at this point. Maybe we do know shit. So, anyways, my name is Emilio Bucks, and joining me this week is the lady Miss Christy T. And rounding up the trio is Mr. Southside himself, the notorious T-Nick.
What's up?
Hit him with it. All right. Bears lost again.
Again.
For kind of the same reasons. Same shit. That offensive line is just, I heard somebody, who was it? I heard somebody mention it might be more technique than personnel. And the offensive line coach came into question. I guess that's a possibility. But at this point, where do we go from here? The injuries are piling up on the O-line. Is this season salvageable, T-Nick, or is a playoff hope still there for this team?
Without a good O-line, I don't know. Right now we have an O-line that's basically put together with Scotch tape and spit it on chewing gum. So we're not gonna make the playoffs with a line like that. Nick Foles doesn't have time to do anything. David Montgomery looks like he's just running into a wall, just constantly doing this. And we know he's better than that, or do we? I think he's better than that, but
I think so. Like, yeah, because I feel you. Like, for a long time, I wasn't sold on him, but then I feel like in certain ways he's getting better, but the line is getting worse at the same time. So it's kind of canceling each other out.
Yeah, it's bad. They're not creating holes for him to run, so that's why he's looking like a crash test dummy.
Right. I mean, I talked to Tom Thayer today, actually. Well, he was on the radio. I heard him.
In your mind, that's your friend, and you were talking
to him. He didn't respond. But anyway, he was speaking on. He's pretty high on Montgomery, actually, and just like he just needs help getting to that second level. Because those that O line is. That is the elephant. That's the weak link and all of that. Kristen.
Hey, go ahead, Tina.
I was just gonna say it doesn't help when you got Jermaine Ifedi ducking his head and trying to push for dear life, and the linebacker just swam him, and he should have pushed his head down, put him in the dirt, but that doesn't help Montgomery's case at all. Montgomery had to try to make something out of nothing, but he couldn't. So I'm sorry, Kristen, go ahead.
Oh no, it's
fired up.
I mean, we like you said, it's the same thing. We talk about the same thing. We've been talking about the offensive line since last year. So, and your only improvement was Jermaine Ifedi, who Seattle didn't want. So what did you really expect? And then this past week, they had COVID and injuries. And so now you can't even really teach your schemes because you lost a day of practice, and then you get these people in. Then I think the day of the game, you lost one person, so you had to bring in someone else. So I expected it to actually be a little worse than it was. And so maybe, I guess you got back Jason Spriggs, so all is okay in the world when they play on Monday. But it's been a problem. It's going to be a problem. It doesn't matter what quarterback you have back there. It's going to remain a problem. The quarterback's not going to have time. The quarterback will get skittish and now makes terrible decisions, even when he has the opportunity to make a play. Your running game, I don't know. I haven't heard how David Montgomery has come through the concussion protocol. So will he be there? The running isn't happening, isn't working with Cordero. And I mean, Ryan, is Lamar Miller going to come? I mean, he
Is he
can't
ever
hurt.
gonna come?
It's like if David Montgomery's not playing, you can't just have Cordero and Ryan Nall.
Right.
If Lamar Miller is ready to try, bring him up if you don't have David Montgomery. Now, he may not be able to do anything either, but maybe he can hit the tiniest sliver of a hole that the offensive line may put through there, may open up for him. But it's the same thing. The offense is the offense. Okay, if we change play callers, but if no one has time to actually run a play, is it going to matter?
And we're talking about a
Playoffs.
defensive line in Tennessee that were reportedly in disarray. This is
Tennessee's offensive line?
No, I mean, I'm sorry, their defense.
Their defense?
The defensive line. This is not a good
No.
defensive line.
Especially running, the run defense.
Yeah. This is where we were supposed to at least be on some sort of level playing field. And I mean, and in the defense, they were able to limit Henry somehow. They let the other guy run all over him.
Yeah, and I think their Vrabel saw that, and that's why we didn't even see Henry as much as we thought we were going to. Like, Henry was on the sidelines a lot because they were like, you know what, they're hyped up to stop you, but this other Nichols or whatever.
You mean the coach actually saw something and he made an in-game adjustment instead of just kept doing?
What they say is that this coach actually saw what his quarterback can do and changed things to fit his quarterback. Novel idea, isn't it?
Novel.
This ain't working for Nick Foles. You need to change. If Nick Foles is your guy and that's who you're going to stay with, then you're going to have to change something for Nick Foles to do.
Nagy doesn't do anything.
He wouldn't. People said to change for Mitch. He wouldn't do that. Mitch isn't going to run this. He's an I formation, play action. See the player throw the ball, do something with it, run if he can. Nick Foles is more of a system guy, but it has to be the right system, and this isn't it. It's just I don't know. And then some people are saying that the wide receivers are getting upset and maybe, they're blaming Nagy, but I'm going to need them to sit down and be quiet because they have also not always helped out their quarterback.
Yeah. And it is when the season gets like this, it's like, the fans, teams, they start pointing fingers at each other. And then it's like, well, you made this mistake. It was like, because at this point, there's like absolutely no room for error for anybody. One drop pass, you cost us the fucking game because it's like, well, damn, that's not even like a reasonable expectation to have on one part of the team. Like even if we have whatever criticism we have of the defense, it's like, well, I mean, can we really sit here and try to talk about the defense needs to do better? I mean, sure, they could do better at stuff, but like, I mean, with even a capable offense, we are a playoff team, a real playoff team, so.
And unless there's a miracle, the way things are going, I can't see us becoming capable. When you watch that Tennessee game and then there was the drive where things were going well, a lot of it's in garbage time or whatever, but the Titans defense, they stopped really pressuring. So he had more time. If I'm the other defensive coordinator, it's going to be, I don't know if I won't every play I might bring somebody because all I got to do is if I don't give you time, you're not going to hit the person that I've left. Right. So when I see other teams stop pressuring the Bears,
kind of going to that
what are you looking at?
Type of thing, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. We say this every week.
It's
the same thing.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, it's like
because even going back into what we're saying about like Nick Foles needs this system, this quarterback needs this, it's like, but with that O-line, what could Nagy even like really provide?
That's what I'm saying. Like people are like, he needs to give a play calling, but What's the other guy going to call if no one?
Right now.
I mean, maybe they'll call some things because maybe they'll do more fast things. I don't know. And then I don't. I still. We talked about this last week. I still don't understand what is the disconnect between Nagy and Foles that they still can't get plays together. You do a fake punt, you get the first down. You're at that time he was your leading rusher to get that first down, and you have to call a timeout. What's going on with the communication system? Like these you handpicked him. He came here thinking that you two had this connection, and it is not there.
It's worse than what we saw with Mitch, kind of.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes it may be unfair sometimes the criticism for Foles, but he's the veteran and he's the one who's supposed to make the good decisions, and he's supposed to know how to use this wristband that he loves to just call a play. Call a play. I mean, when you had Mitch, it's like, well, he doesn't really do this well, do this well, do this well. He only played, 13 games his entire career before he got here. Okay, but this guy's a Super Bowl MVP. He's played on 8 billion teams for a reason. But he came here, he was chosen to come here, so he's supposed to know how to do things. And when he's not, that's why he gets more criticism than maybe sometimes he deserves.
Sure. Just like Mitch did for 2 years.
Yeah. So,
but
I don't know. Now I'm tired. Now I need a nap.
They were supposed to have a play ready. You know, when Marquise Mingo ran after that fake punt, they were supposed to have something ready.
There shouldn't even have needed to be any conversation.
Momentum is everything.
A timeout.
A timeout.
He is the master of killing momentum. He is the master of that. We make a good play,
Timeout. Bring it in.
Because you'll see
talk about
Nick Foles like going crazy, and then Matt Nagy's like, what are you, an idiot? Timeout. I mean, it's the same thing. Nick Foles starts going crazy. He's doing this, flipping the wristband, and then Matt Nagy's like, this fool, timeout. It's like Matt Nagy almost says every time, this fool, I got to tell him again. And then he's even like, well, we have a wristband for a reason, basically saying, like, if you can't figure out what I'm saying, use the wristband so we don't have to keep calling timeouts.
Yeah, you think like a guy like Nick Foles, well, dude, you have enough of a pedigree or whatever it is to be able to just call a goddamn play while you're on the field. If your headset goes out or whatever is happening, like, I think you're an adult professional Super Bowl MVP quarterback.
Right.
You should
fucking play, man.
Your coach is okay with you just running the goddamn play instead of looking like an idiot. Like,
and he does. I'm like, what is wrong with him?
Everybody look bad for that matter.
Yes. And Nagy trusts him, so he can call a play. He has the wristband with all the plays. I mean, if nothing else, hand it off to David Montgomery. Like, do something.
There's a food menu or something on these.
Like, I'm getting some wings after this.
Like tips. Oh,
a lot of people call that BU card that Nagy has a Denny's menu.
That he has like a gigantic like laminate.
Yeah, and it says BU on the back of it.
Oh, really? All right, Nagy.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay, well, we got a special guest coming into the clubhouse this week. Really great guest by the name of Napoleon Harris, Chicago born and bred. And he's here to talk about some things that he's doing in his new professional career, as well as maybe going to share a story or two from his NFL days. All right, so this week on the Chicago Clubhouse, we have a very special guest. This brother is a graduate of Thornton High School, Harvard, USA. Please stand up. He was drafted in 03, I believe, by the Raiders. He played on some very good Raiders teams where he went to the Super Bowl, actually. played another like half of his career in Minnesota and the NFC North, and now he's an Illinois Senate representative. So he has run the full gamut. Chicago, Harvey, please give a warm Clubhouse welcome to Mr. Napoleon Harris.
Yeah, yeah.
Ow, ow.
Man, thank you guys for having me on. I definitely appreciate it. It was 02, first round draft pick.
That you were drafted. Was the Super Bowl in 03?
The Super Bowl was in 03. So
Right.
it was two,
And after I
it was
said it, I was like, nah, he wasn't a rookie when it was the Super Bowl.
April of 02. Yeah,
Okay.
I was a rookie, bro. Rookie starting middle linebacker in Super Bowl 37.
That's what's up, man. I remember that squad. It was Tim Brown, Rich
Tim
Gannon.
Brown, Rich Gannon, Jerry Rice, Charles Woodson,
sir.
Rob Woodson,
Oh,
Bill
goodness.
Robinson,
That's right.
Trey
Yeah.
Armstrong, John Perella, Sam Adams.
That's a great team for and a rookie with that.
Got a lot of Hall of Famers on that team.
Man, that was the squad, man. Kristen, you bought me a Raiders jersey that year because I lived out in LA. You bought me a Tim Brown jersey that year because I was pulling for y'all against Tampa, right? I think.
Yep, against Tampa, yeah.
Man, that's what's up, man. Well, again, glad to have you on the show, man. Appreciate you taking the time to come speak with us today, man. So let's, before we get on to like, Chicago football and all that, let's just talk about you a little bit, man. Like, you have a very interesting career that has gone from, athletics all the way into politics. Can you just kind of walk us through, like, how was your journey, or like, was this kind of in the plan, or did it just sort of happen, or what?
Well, to be honest, man, I've always considered myself a leader in that respects, as it respects to just me on the football field, on the basketball court, and just in life. That's why I tell people, I make a joke all the time. I said, well, man, that's why I never joined the game. I said, because I would have to be the leader, and for me, it was more so about bringing people together and just doing what's right. And I've always considered, going into politics, but not knowing the full aspect of what it took and how to do it. Like in college, I remember just joking around with friends like, hey, man, one day I'm just going to run for president, not knowing what you have to do and different things you have to accomplish to even get an opportunity to do that. I know people read their 8th grade social studies book and say, oh, to be president, the only thing you got to do is do this, 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 and this. It's the 3 branches of government, this, and this. But the reality of it is there's a lot of hard work, in order to be an elected official. You have to, first and foremost, you have to accumulate the proper amount of signatures to get on the ballot. And then once you're on the ballot, you have to represent yourself in such a way based on what position you're running for, so people will notice who you are, tell their platform of what you're running on, and try to gather support. And in the midst of all that, you have to raise money because elections are not free. You have to, and the reason why they cost so much, because it's really in the big scheme of things, it's like a popularity contest. So if Joe Blow goes and wants to run and he hasn't done much in the community for people to gather his name or to know his name, he has to spend money on advertising, sending mailers to your home, television ads, and now social media. We didn't have that back then, but now social media, and just trying to gather attention. So for me, I felt like it was somewhat of a natural progression when you think about the various similarities between sports and politics. When you think about it in this way, in sports, there's teamwork, there's common goals, there's sacrifices, there's compromise. Sometimes you may not always be the lead scorer. You may have to set a screen for somebody else to score. So I kind of bring that to the light in government. In politics, it takes a group effort. You're only one vote out of the number of votes you need to pass a bill. So you have to go talk to your colleagues and get them to understand your cause and why you're so passionate about passing this particular piece of legislation, and hopefully gather their support to be able to pass your bill. And you have to compromise. Some things you may want to get in it that you think you want to get, some you don't. And, you just take it from there. So there's a lot of similarities in it. And more importantly, it was important for me to be in a position I'm in currently, like you mentioned earlier, I'm a senator. I represent the 15th legislative district here in Illinois, and this encompasses the area that I actually grew up in and went to school in. So like all of the public schools that I attended are located within my district. The home that I grew up in is located within my district. And it's just special for me because I get to represent truly what I came from. You know, these are the same streets that I walk. The neighbors that I had growing up, I still see the same people who saw me and cheered me on as a young man at Thornton High School, who cheered me on when I was in college at Northwestern, and cheered me on when I was in the NFL. And for me, you know, we as a young man, you know, your elders, they always tell you, you know, and I'm pretty sure you guys have heard this before, go to school, get an education, and don't forget where you come from. And for me, it kind of came full circle, man, because I actually did just that. I went to school, I got a great education from Northwestern. I went on to play professional sports, and then after I retired, I came back home, and I didn't forget where I came from, and I wanted to make the community that I grew up in better. And I like to think I'm doing just that. You know, it's tough, but it's definitely well worth it, and it's gratifying in itself. You know, it's almost, to be honest, man, it's better than sacking Aaron Rodgers, man. It feels that much better.
Oh man! All right, that would feel great. Yeah, yeah. You sacked Aaron Rodgers before, though?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
And you sacked a young Aaron Rodgers when he really moved.
I sacked the Aaron Rodgers the year before the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers.
Oh
man,
yeah,
I feel like maybe I just want to hug you just to make you feel like I sacked a little bit.
2007 or 8, I think was that season.
Yeah, when they won the Super Bowl, that was like the 2009 season.
They went in 2009
or 2010 season, something like that. Yeah,
I got that good Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you did. You sacked the good one.
You did. Yeah, you did. That's the Aaron Rodgers that beat us in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I got
win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The most hated Aaron Rodgers. Oh man, that's cool, man. So like, hey, so did you do anything? You went to Northwestern. Were you involved in like politics or like kind of like student union or student government in any way, or like maybe in high school or anything like that?
I wasn't, man. To be honest with you, I would have loved to. I always just felt that during that time I didn't have the time because I was so dedicated to putting the work in my craft, to being the best athlete I could be, and it just didn't fit my schedule. It was like I was obsessed with being the very best that I could be at linebacker, and that kind of paid off for me. You know, being drafted the first linebacker in the draft, I couldn't ask for anything better than that because I dedicated myself and put the work in. And so to go to debate or do that, no, I didn't do it, but I consider myself, they call me the locker room lawyer. So anything that we can discuss, it was like the barbershop in the locker room where it would be healthy and fun debate.
Oh, okay, so right, all right, yeah, that's cool. Like, so you always kind of had the spirit in there, but yeah, and at the same time, I see what you're saying because you had to spend your time building your platform and your foundation that helped you, with your second act, in politics and whatnot.
Correct.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
So when you went from high school to Northwestern, what made you choose football over basketball?
Well, to be honest, man, it kind of chose me. In my heart of hearts, I believed I was a better basketball player. And like I could still play today. Like I could fill it up. And I used to, at Thornton, we was the #1 high school team in the country.
Yeah, you was the dog. Antoine Randall L too.
Yeah, Antoine Randall L, Ty Streets, Melvin Eli, Eric Heron. We had 3 pros on that team.
Wow, that's right. You
should have been 4. We had 3. We had a lot of talent, and I even played basketball at Northwestern. I got in. I remember my first Big Ten game playing at Northwestern. I came in. It was against Indiana, and I believe A.J. Guyton was the man. Him and I forget the other guy name, but he ended up playing in the NBA for a short stint. But I came off the bench like 6 or 7 man. Came in, didn't know any other plays. Was just out there hooping, setting screens, catching it, scoring, playing good D. Ended up finished with 14 points, 12 rebounds. We lost by like 5 or 6, but I had 14 and 12. After the game, Bobby Knight come to me and said, "Young man, what's your name?" I was like, "Napoleon Harris." He was like, "You weren't even on our scouting report." He's like, I don't know where you came from. And I was out there dropping it down. And then like I played a couple other, and that year was special because I want to say it was my birthday weekend. I know for sure it was around my birthday
wow.
in February. Ohio State was a ranked team in the country, and they had Michael Redd, who went #1 overall in the draft from Ohio State. He was a true freshman. Michael Redd was scoring 30 a game. We upset Ohio State at Northwestern. I had 19 and 12, was the leading scorer. Man, you could have sold me for a quarter. I'm up here like, hey, I'm going to the NBA. I'm like, I got 19 and 12 in Big Ten and Division I against Michael Redd.
Right.
And then we played. That was the year Mateen Cleaves, Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
We played them to overtime. Mateen ended up hitting a 3 in overtime with like 2 or 3 seconds left. They beat us by 3. I mean, I was out there really hooping, man. And then I just remember being in practice one day, and Kevin O'Neal, who was the coach at the time, he later became the coach for the Toronto Raptors for a stint. He came to me. He said, "Hey, man, some college scouts. He said some professional scouts came through, and they talked to me, and they said you have a chance to be the #1 linebacker in the draft." And I'm like, and at the time, I'm gonna be honest with you, I thought I was a good athlete, but I didn't think I was the #1 guy at the time because I was producing, but I didn't think of myself. I thought I could be, but I wasn't there yet. And I was like, he said, man, only thing they said you have to do is get stronger in the weight room. And athletically and the skill set is there. You just have to get physically stronger. And you can't do that by doing both. You got to pick one. He said, man, I would advise you to go ahead, put your time into that, man, and make some money and take care of your family. And after that, I played probably 2 more games. I ended up leaving basketball. I may have played 1 more game and end up getting in the weight room, man, getting bigger, and then having a great year in football, you know, that really catapulted me to that guy. You know, I came out, I led the Big Ten, and tackles, I believe, was second, was all Big Ten. Led our team to a Big Ten championship. We won the Big Ten title that year. And then, as they say, the rest is history, you know.
So what year was that? What year?
That was the 99-2000 year.
99-2000, okay.
Yeah.
And you came out in 2002. That's when you
2000,
got it.
Yep.
Okay.
It was my sophomore year. It was my sophomore year. My sophomore year in school, but like, you know, in football, it's kind of go that previous year, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay.
You know, like you always say, like, no regrets. And so there's no way I could ask you, do you think you chose the right sport? But like, I don't know. Do you feel like, I don't know, is there a way to feel like, oh yeah.
There's no really way.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. It's really no really way to say you made a bad decision when you go first round in the first pick. So it's like, but it's one of those things for me. I felt like I could have been a first round basketball player too, because the guys who are actually playing in the league that played in the league that's my age, I played against them in high school. I played against them in AAU, and even sometimes, even when I was in college, in the summer when they play in the pro-am, I used to play in a pro-am and drop 40. So I knew I could play, you know. So I'm not going to say I made a mistake, but you know, football players have on helmets, man. So basketball, everybody know you. You probably get a little bit more notoriety and may have made a little bit more money because, you know, their contracts are guaranteed. But overall, I had a good time. I was excited, very content with what I've done as a professional athlete. You know, and as a professional athlete, you always believe and think you could do more. So that's just us challenging our inner self. You know, we compete with ourselves, man.
You still feel like you have that in you as being in politics now? Yeah. It seems like you got to have that same type of animal there too.
I really believe it's in you. That doesn't change. Like people think a persona when they think of most professional athletes. I think it's a mindset and attitude. So you are who you are. So that's just a transfer of energy to a different arena. So the way I play football is the same way I play basketball, is the same way I attack business, the same way I address politics. It's a fire, it's a hunger, it's a commitment to whatever you do. So I believe that it's just that fire that burns inside of you. It's a passion. You know, so if it was one word to describe me as it comes to all those different things, I would say relentless. You have to be relentless in your pursuit to perfection. And so I think that's what makes it great with anything. You have to be passionate about it. You have to care, because someone can't drum up fake energy. You know, you feel it. It's an energy thing. When you step into a room, people gonna know if it's real, if it's fake. Because, you know, you've been there before. You've seen people come in the room, and as they say, they try to be the louder one in the room to keep the attention off of them, versus being someone who you just say, hey, something about that person, they just command the room. Everybody wants to be around them to hear what they have to say, or to be around them just to feel good, or whatever that may be, to gain information, or just that person has some type of aura about them. So
how tall are you, Napoleon?
6'3".
6'3". You pretty well, boy. You think that helps any? Like, people want to be around you?
I mean,
when I walk in, they don't
I
really
definitely
look my way. I think I'm a nice guy, but I just don't attract.
You don't demand the attention.
I
Command the
definitely
attention.
feel that 6'3" commands the room better than 5'7".
I mean, I ain't that sure, but
No, I'm just saying.
I'm saying he's like, you know, he's better than you. Say who is
Right. So yeah.
Right.
I'll command it better than you, Mr. Hardy.
Right. I'm 5'10" with the hat.
But no,
That orange hat gives you the attention.
I'm gonna say this though. I'm not gonna say. Don't get me wrong. I think height has its advantages, but it's not just the tall person, because people of influence, a lot of those people are short. You know, I'm pretty sure if Warren Buffett or Bill Gates come in the room, they're gonna demand some attention, and they're not tall at all.
Yep.
And they,
you know, so it's just a level of aura of what you bring to the table. You know.
Right.
All right. So Napoleon, when do you remember was your welcome to the NFL moment? I know most rookies or most football players have that moment. It's like, okay, well, you're with the big boys now. Welcome to the NFL. Do you remember your moment?
Like, for me, it was like a dual moment. It was two instances in the same weekend. My first game at the old Dallas Stadium. That was my first preseason game, and we in the dressing room. We getting ready, and then I go out for warm up. I'm walking down a tunnel, and I'm just like, man, this is what I always seen on TV with Emmitt Smith, them winning championships in Dallas, and then lo and behold, Emmitt Smith walk out the tunnel. We walking down the tunnel, and I'm like, man, this is Emmitt Smith, man. And that was and I remember at the time I was a rookie. I started the first game of the season, but I wasn't starting during preseason. It was a 12-year veteran, Greg Beaker, was starting, and he was out there starting. I'm like, man, I'm gonna be out there with the second stream. I ain't gonna get a chance to get in. Greg played the first series, and he looked at me and said, "Grab your helmet. You going in next series?" I'm like, oh man, I gotta. And I wanted, you know, how you want to play, you want to be out there, but I was so nervous, man. And really, man, it was. I ain't gonna say scared, but I was scared to mess up. But after I just said, you know what, man, I'm a first round pick. I'm fast. I'm about to let it hang out. And what's funny is I forget his first name, but his last name is Thomas. He was the fullback for Dallas. And how I knew him, I had met him the previous year because my college roommate, it was his cousin. So he ended up coming to Northwestern for a game, and I remember coming back to our apartment after the game, telling us how the NFL was, and telling me how tough it was, and this and this and that. And I was like, my roommate called me and said, man, you know you're playing against my cousin tonight. And he was talking like, man, you're a rookie. I'm about to break you in half. And I mean, and he was a big fullback, and I'm thinking like, oh my God.
Brother, I had you in my crib. Like, I mean, you Rice Krispie treats. How you gonna talk to me like that?
So once I got in there, man, the first play of the game, they ran an ISO. Man, I ran through that man like a hot knife through butter, and made the tackle in the backfield and went crazy. After that, that was the end of the day for Emmitt. Well, preseason, I'll take it back. Emmitt didn't even play. He didn't play the preseason game. It was Wiley from Ohio State played. It was a good running back. I tackled Wiley. Then they tried to run a toss sweep, tackled him. It was 4th and 1. They went for it on the 1-yard line. Man, I ran it down, hawked it down. Bam, stopped it on the 1, and then went crazy. Rob Woodson come tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, Rook, this preseason, man, relax. Hey, but that was real to me. So
right.
welcome to the NFL, baby.
Yeah, brother. You get the stop on 4th and 1. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is.
I can imagine the veterans like, look at this.
Man, they was
Look at-
clowning me, man. They was clowning me. But I'm like, man, y'all don't understand. I don't care if it's practice, preseason, whatever. I go hard. I just want them. Really, it was about them earning. It was about me earning their respect. I want them to know that, like, man, I do this. I'm a baller.
Right on. And that's what they want to see. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that was my welcome to the NFL moment, man.
All right.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Like,
But after that, man, the next week, you know what I'm saying? They let Greg go, and they were like, "You start. You showed us that you ready." So
See all that celebrating work, all that was
all that work.
Oh, that's that preparation that you
Yes,
spoke
there
of
you
earlier. Yeah.
So you got your kids into any athletics?
Man, listen, I don't tell them this, man. I tell them sometimes, but I'm so proud of my kids, man. I have 2 boys and a girl. That, man, I ain't gonna lie, they much better than I was in sports. They be young. I got a 7th grader, little Napoleon, real gifted, man. Play great at basketball. I'm talking about could shoot the lights out.
Wow.
Basketball, baseball, and football. And then I got another son, my middle son, Noah's in 3rd grade. He's really good in basketball and football, and he played a little bit of baseball. He'll probably get back into it. Then my daughter plays tennis and gymnastics. She's really good in that. So, I mean, man, I got all athletes over here, man.
That's all good, man.
Either son or lefty?
Now, all of them are right-handed. But I'm telling you now, all of them are going to do great. You're going to hear about them. I promise you. And it's that kind of thing that, like, you know, people believe that professional athletes' kids supposed to be good, you know, and the truth is most of them don't be because they don't have the drive and determination. But they all are driven and they want to be the very best, man. They work hard and they got the skill to go with it. That's what's scary. It's like, wow. And then now I'm starting to see my oldest starting to sprout up. I'm looking like, okay, bro, you coming. You about to be, he taller than his mama now. Okay, you on my shoulder. Okay.
Right. It's gonna be time to drop a little elbow on him just for the heck of it.
Oh, yeah, I got to.
But hey.
Still my shoulder.
Throw that bass out your voice.
Hey, I'm looking at him like that. Hey, I'm still daddy now.
That's you got to.
I'm getting twisted. Daddy's still here now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still in the gym.
You just gotta throw him a L just because, just to remind him.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Hey man, so like to kind of talk a little bit more about the NFL and stuff, like you spent like 4 years with the Vikings, I believe it was.
So this is how I went. My first 3 years I was I was with the Raiders, and then that 3rd year we had 2 coaching changes within that time. Then I got traded to Minnesota for Randy Moss. Randy Moss went to Oakland. I came over to Minnesota. I spent 2 years there in Minnesota the first time around, and then I was a free agent, you know, and thankfully, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, it worked out best in my favor because those 2 years gave me time to get everything together, and I had a great year my last year, man. Led the Vikings in tackles, had like 4 picks, played a really good thing. I was a top priority free agent. I signed a deal in Kansas City. I signed a 5-year deal in Kansas City, but end up only playing a year and a half of that deal. But hey, they paid me well to stay there.
You still got the money though, right? You kept the money, right?
Got the money.
Yeah.
It was just that, man.
Hey, that's what's up.
It was one of those things in Kansas City, man. It sounded good, but it just wasn't a good fit, you know. But you know, when they're the team that's paying the most, you got to go get the money.
You've
gotta get it.
NFL career, yes.
And then once I left Kansas City, I went back to Minnesota for a year, finished up that year, was a free agent again, then went back to Oakland. Yeah.
So that year that you went to Kansas City, you were about to go to Tampa Bay first, right?
Man, how you know that, man?
Man, I do my research, man. Come on, man. Now,
only a few people, real talk, only a few people knew that, man. I forgot. I must have told you that.
Man, you ain't telling me that, man. I do my research.
No,
but I'm saying, you chose to go to Kansas City over Florida?
Yeah, but I'm going to be honest. This is the reason why.
Barbecue.
Nah, it wasn't a barbecue. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, the barbecue ain't all that great in Kansas City, like people
Really?
say.
I'll just be hearing about it. No, okay.
Yeah, man, that's a myth.
And you from Chicago, so of course that's what.
I'm just keeping it 100.
That's what's up.
But for me, it was more so, at the time, I thought the year before, if you remember, Kansas City had a really good offense, with Larry Johnson rushed for like 2,000 yards. And that's the year that Priest Holmes got hurt, and they had a real veteran-laced offensive line. I didn't do my homework, and knowing that 2 or 3 of those offensive linemen was retiring, and that the quarterback, they was replacing Trent Green with Brody Crower from Alabama, a rookie. I went down thinking they're gonna have that same offense. I could hold it down on defense. I don't care who they're, and we could roll. And then the other part was they signed a bonus was a little bit better than Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay offered more of the base, but I ain't want the base. I wanted mine up front.
Right.
And came with it up front. And I said, I called Tampa and said, hey, if y'all up in here, then I'm coming. And then before they could even say it, Kansas City said, well, this is what we gonna do. Well, bet we doing this. Y'all 45 minutes, it's a 45-minute plane ride from here to Chicago from the house.
Oh, right on.
And the same reasoning that you just said is what John Gruden was telling me. He's like, well, you in Florida, there's no taxes, no this, it's the weather. Hey man, all that don't mean that. I need to see that in that account.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Run you that money. Run you that money.
Show me the tips.
So that's what happened. But in retrospect, and you talk about regrets, if I could do it all over again, I would have went to Tampa. Because I would end up getting the money, and I'd probably play 2 or 3 more seasons longer because it was a better fit.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So,
all right, so go ahead, Kristen.
oh no, you can go ahead.
No, I just so like, do you feel like any connection to Minnesota over the Bears coming up on Monday night, or how do you feel about the Bears? Like, I know you're from here, but I find just because a person's from here don't mean he's necessarily a Bears fan. So like,
well, I'll say this: I'm not a Bears fan per se.
Okay.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, I'm not a real football fan. I watch it occasionally. When I left the game, bro, I didn't watch the game for like 3-4 years, maybe longer. But when I look at the game, I look at it different than most fans look at it. Like, I'm literally, I watch the game Sunday. I look at it like I'm still playing. I look at it, I see, okay, that's Deuce left, trips, back foot, weak foot. They about to run this. My wife be like, what are you talking about? I'm like, baby, I know what they about to run based on their formations and sets. It's just something I did for a living. I know.
Of course.
When you go to 3-by-1, when you go on a 3-by-1, the back offset is only 2 things you're gonna do. You either gonna run a screen weak, or you're gonna run a flood where everybody come over a chip, or you're gonna run a hard naked boot. It's like tendencies. I be calling out plays before they run past. My son be like, how you know that is keys? Son, you gotta read your keys. Right. You don't see that man leaning like this, he about to pull. His hand ain't on the ground. Ain't no blood flow going through them knuckles. Look at it.
Wow.
So like,
I'm at to look at the game.
Now, does that ruin it for you? So you can't just sit and enjoy a game? Or is it like driving you crazy, or can you?
It don't ruin it for me because it didn't ruin it for me when I played. Mm-hmm. It's the excitement of preparation. That's, to me, the great players. They know these things. That's why they're able to play fast and play relentless and make plays, because they see it come. They know what's gonna happen before it happens. So they bait quarterbacks into throwing those interceptions because they think, okay, he moved over too much to the left. I'm gonna throw this backside post, and you baiting him. You moving left, psych, got him. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, I wish I had some film to go along with everything you're saying. That's
so I did, and like, what's funny, I remember doing Rex Grossman like that in the Bears when I was in Minnesota. I remember I saw this formation. I was like, when Thomas Jones get in this formation, I'm a check to 2 man. Because Rex gonna throw it blind to that backside post, and I'm gonna be right there because it's depth perception. He don't know how deep I am when I'm moving. He just see lines. I'm not deep, but the depth, I'm just getting in that window, that passing window. Man,
wow.
They called it. I checked. I'm like, check, 2 man, bumping it. Got everybody to press up. I was supposed to be man-to-man on Thomas Jones, but I know he had to pick up the end rushing, so he was in match protect. Once he protect, I don't got nobody to man, so I'm free. I go to the hole, read his eye. I take a peek over my right shoulder. I see Davis. I think he was 81. I see Davis breaking. I just run the spot.
Rashid.
That's Rashid.
Yeah.
Yep, Rashid Davis.
We had him on the show recently. I'm gonna put that one in his face.
Yeah, when we have him back, we gotta talk about that. Funny.
Yeah, we do stories with Sheed. So now with you watching it, and if you watch the Bears and you see Roquan Smith, who's, there's been a lot of big expectations for Roquan, and this year he has been a beast. Can you tell us if there's anything that you've seen differently that, has he changed his techniques, or, because I know you watch with a critical and a player's eye. So do you see anything different than what you've seen in the past with him?
Yep. You know what I see?
What?
They letting him play. They let him do what he do. When I seen Roquan at Georgia, and I promise you, I remember that was my first time ever seeing him. I didn't know who he was, didn't know he was highly ranked linebacker, and I was just watching a college football game one day. And I see him. He popped out the screen on me. I hit my wife. I said, "Hey, babe, that dude right there, Smith, that's me. That's the young Napoleon." And then when he came to the Bears, he put on 58. I said, that's me. Man, he played just like me. He sideline to sideline. He a thick dude, and he got a little thump to him. The problem with the Bears, to be honest with you, and people don't want to admit it, as well as they get a credit to Akeem Hicks, and Akeem Hicks is not a downhill run stopper to me. The reason why the Bears are able to do okay with the run and not great is because they get so much outside pressure from Mac that everything funnels down. They don't have no interior push. You know what I'm saying? Akeem Hicks, they get some occasional plays, but they're not those stout defensive tackles that we had when I played. Like in front of me, man, I had Sam Adams, John Perella, Warren Sapp. When I was at Oak, I had some guys that Ted Washington, who Urlacher had his first 2 years. You got big Ted in front of you. Ain't nothing coming to you. Yep. I could run free. I ain't worried about a guard coming up on me. If Roquan Smith had that, he would be in those likes. Like people, for me, I know it would be considered, quote unquote, they say hating or you this and that because you critique somebody that played your position. But that's just the truth, man. If people want to be honest, be honest. Ray Lewis and Urlacher had great defensive fronts, so they was able to play great. If you give Roquan Smith that or any other great linebacker that, they're going to make those same plays. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean that they're not good players. But what makes you a good player because you know how to play. What makes you a great player is when you have that defensive line in front of you that's stopping guards from getting on you. Because I don't care how good you are. If you have a 330-pound guard coming at you every play untouched, you're not going to win a lot of those battles. You're going to win a few, but they're going to win them more. It's just a mass time acceleration equals force. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is.
Right.
You're not coming down here 250 hitting 330 for 60 snaps. It's just not. It's not logical to think that. And when you really look at them when they was making their plays, nobody was touching them. You had Hamilton and Ted Washington in front of Urlacher. Ain't nobody going through that. Ain't no guards coming up on you because if you don't, Ted Washington crushing your quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
He was for stuff.
And think about it. When Ray was in Baltimore, he had Tony Saragusa and Sam Adams.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I know this because I had one of each guys that they had. Sam was in
Kansas City.
Baltimore. No, Sam was in Baltimore with Ray Lewis when they won the Super Bowl. Him and Tony Saragusa was in the middle. I had him with me. You know what I'm saying? So I know what he was doing. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Ted Washington. Ted Washington was the largest human being I think I ever seen.
Really?
They put Ted Washington in front of the center. Ted was so big, he'll bump the center with his stomach and then hold the two guards with his hand. He blocking 3 guys.
Do they even come that big anymore? Does anyone have people that big anymore?
No more. Ted Washington was a huge guy. That was the biggest guy I've ever seen in football.
Man, so that's interesting because that makes me think about even going way back to Singletary. And having a guy like Fridge and
That's
like
what I'm
Nick
saying.
and Mongo there, like
The defensive line makes so much difference.
Mhm.
I mean, so much difference. If you have a mediocre D line who jumping, see, and it's a difference because some people like they call it jumping gaps. If you just swimming, like you see, I'm turned to the side. Now you got a clear shot back here. You going straight through. But if I stout up, you got to run through some flesh to get to me. So it's just different. You know what I'm saying? And if they dancing and jumping, they ain't gonna. Nah, you ain't gonna. They ain't gonna do that.
Right.
You need some guys who wanna get up in there and mix it up.
Want that clap?
You want that clap.
Belly clap.
Right. Right.
So with the game coming up against your former team on Monday, I'm sure we know who you're rooting for. What do you think are the keys to either for victory for both teams?
Well, there's two things. I'll start with the Vikings. Right now, I think overall, I think the Vikings have a better defense overall. I think they're more seasoned. They've been playing together for some time a little bit, so things are kind of coming together. I think on the run game, it's going to be important for Minnesota to establish Dalvin Cook. I think Cousins is hot or cold. He's pretty inconsistent, but when he's hot, and when he's not, he's not. Type of deal. So if you could get to Cousins earlier, I think Cousins will throw you a few gifts if you can capitalize on it. Defensively, like I said, I think that Minnesota is stout defensively. I think they do a better job against the pass than the run. So it's a toss up there. I can't really remember their special teams, how good their special teams are, so I don't really know. As far as the Bears, I think the Bears defense is definitely the strong suit of the team right now. I think it's coming up on the defense. What they do well is they stop people from scoring in the red zone. You kicking field goals instead of getting over the goal line. I think that's a good formula to have for a defense. I think they bring good pressure coming off the edge. Then you got to still shore up the middle a little bit and prevent the run. I think too many guys are running extra yards on the Bears. They need to do a little better job of swarming to the football. First man hit, second, they need 2 or 3 more bodies hustling to that ball, getting it out. Offensively, to be honest, the Bears' offensive line is terrible. I mean,
same shit, different day.
They can't stop a nosebleed. I mean, they terrible. I don't even know what they're gonna do. And I mean, I know they blamed Mitch Trubisky in the front part of the season, and then he was 3-0 when they subbed him out. And I'm not saying Foles is not a better decision maker. I do believe Foles is a better decision maker. But I think with the state of the offensive line, you may need a more mobile quarterback to get you out of danger in some of those positions. I like the Bears' weapons on offense. I think they have a good running back. I think the receiver are young and are making real good progress. I think the receiver core is good. I think that Foles just need a little more time to be able to hit his receivers. Although, as of lately, he's been a little inaccurate. And I think when you really look at the tape, it's some throws that if he makes correctly that the Bears, I mean, they really should have only lost 1 game this year. I think the other game they lost was really bad offensive line and bad quarterback play. But I think it's going to be I truly believe it's going to be a very competitive game. I think it's going to be a 5-6 point game. And this is one of those toss-up games because you never know which team you're going to get. The only thing I can say is that Minnesota generally plays better in domes. On the grass field, the Bears can fly around. It's going to be a little windy in Chicago. It's going to be in Chicago. So, I'll give the Bears a slight 3-point advantage, but and that depends on how well the offensive line are able to stand up to their defense.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So you picking the Bears? Yeah. I mean,
Sure.
yeah, and then win or lose, it's probably going to be kind of a close game because the defense always kind of keeps them in there, keeps them in the game. You know what I mean? Very good points, man. Well, hey, man. Again, there was some great stories, man. I want to talk to you some more about some of your stories, man. we
Man, I'll come
get
back on another time, man.
yeah, man, for real, man. You got to come back, man. Yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
man.
because I want to ask you about Vegas Pizza and those dudes that robbed you. What was they thinking? They gonna rob
I'm
this
gonna say that for the next story because that's a long one, man. But
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, okay.
I know we're gonna put a pin in it for sure.
We gotta have you back.
All right, man. Well,
but
once
I'll just
again,
say this as a preview to the next time I come back. They thought it was sweet, and it wasn't.
I love stories like that. Always. Again, Mr. Napoleon Harris, thank you once again for joining us in the clubhouse, man. Please come back again, and we look forward to all your upcoming ventures. We know you got a podcast coming up, so we'll be stay tuned in, for that as well.
All right, thank you guys. I appreciate the time, man. Y'all enjoy the rest of you guys' evening.
Man, you
Thank
too,
you.
sir. Appreciate you. All right, and we just take a couple of minutes to turn our attention to some other sports for a second. Some more kind of baseball news. Our new skipper, Tony La Russa, some stuff has come up about him being cited about for a DUI, back in February. It's not his first. I think, we know Tony likes his sauce. We know that. We've been knowing that.
Saucy.
Yeah. You getting DUIs in your 70s, like.
Yeah,
Like
that's true. In your
why
70s.
you even going? Like, why are you even out of the house that late? Where you?
And Tony La Russa has enough money. Get a
You're a
driver.
millionaire. You gotta
Get a driver.
like. Why do you have to even be out driving?
Right. Why? Yeah.
Like,
Just drink in the house, buddy.
have your friends over. I'm sure you have a phenomenal drink.
I know you have a pool. I know you have a comfortable place.
Table.
Or
Yeah. No need to be out.
But that's what
As he said.
when people like their sauce.
Grandpa, why are you so drunk?
Yeah, when you're reporting to the bottle, you sometimes you gotta be out among the people. It's not enough to be at home. I don't know that from experience. I'm just saying, you got to get out there. But I'm looking at it like this, with the concern being an old school heavy hand on the young, flashy players that are the White Sox. I mean, who the hell is he to like pass any judgment just because a guy wants to wear a $600,000 chain playing second base? I mean,
Just don't wear one as tight as Cordero Patterson.
he wears his choker.
Yeah, that is.
He likes his choker.
That is
He
a
likes
tight.
his chokers.
I'm like, man, that damn chain gets any tighter.
Hey, you're gonna
And
need,
that's probably why Tony La Russa didn't bother anybody on steroids. He's like, I'm too drunk.
he's like, I'm too drunk
Yes.
to care.
Just win, fellas. I got nothing else.
When they win, the bar gets better. So hey,
Maybe the Sox will, after this, maybe part of the thing was some little rehab for him. I hope.
I mean, sure. I mean, addiction. It's a disease. I'm not like downplaying. Yeah. I'm not downplaying the seriousness of it, but yeah, like driving. So
yeah, just stop. Do what you gotta do. Stop driving.
like, why does he have to be out driving sauced up like that? Like, it's bad enough him driving at all. Like, don't you have a driver? Can't you get a driver?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you got enough money to get a driver.
Like, La Russa's going out to the low end and shit. Like, you want to like have a driver? He's down on like, the checkerboard on 63rd. Like, I like it.
Hey, girl.
Right. He pulls up in like a 06 Accord with like.
I'm a Hall of Famer.
It's like, that's his fetish. Like,
I'll go to the wide side.
Addiction is
regular
real,
Joe.
but you can't keep putting others in danger. Stop driving.
Absolutely, yeah. It's
But
funny.
I bet if the Sox win, ain't nobody gonna give a fuck. Ain't nobody gonna care about that.
Unfortunately, because he hasn't hurt anybody, nobody really gives a fuck now.
You know what it is? People are just mad because he's here. So now it's this on top
Sure.
of that.
Of course. Yeah.
Now, because there are some people who said they're not going to buy tickets and, like this isn't going to make the Sox get rid of them because they knew about this before they signed them. So they're not all of a
They're
sudden going to be
not
like,
gonna
oops.
buy tickets. Who was buying Sox tickets and now they're not gonna?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to Sox games. I don't give a fuck.
Like, no, like who's protesting not buying Sox? Like, there's enough people not buying Sox tickets just because of disinterest. For like, that's not even a protest. I'm not.
They used to that shit.
It's well, nobody's buying Sox tickets.
Right.
They used to people not buying tickets.
All right, what are you gonna do?
Tony, stop driving.
I mean, just get a driver.
Call an Uber.
Call an Uber. Like, but he just likes it.
I
He
just
likes
need
it.
you to
loud.
just, you're 74. Stay home. Stay
Right, you're too
home.
old to get sauced up.
I mean, I don't know. Does he have a wife? I don't know, but you can get some women at the house. Like, you don't have to go out and find them.
You do
They
whatever
will
you
come
want.
to you.
But see, that's part of the thrill. That's part of the
But in an Accord.
the
Well, see, that's because if he tears that up, that's no big deal.
Cloth seats, like
With cloth seats.
yeah, like he wants to be like the regular man. He got cloth seats. It's got a CD player, but it also has a tape deck still. Like,
Pull out. You gotta pull out.
So he has to carry his radio around.
Right.
Just supposed to be an average guy.
Oh wow.
Jay or something.
Tony La Russa, stop driving.
I mean, he might be the perfect guy for the job, but either way, we'll find out. Well, okay, so let's get on to our predictions and keys to a Bears W. Got a Monday night game, another big one, national TV. It always worries me when the whole country sees what we're
face you
Scares
make.
me. That scares me.
I don't know. Well,
And this vein comes out in your neck when you make that face.
Yeah, don't make that face, dog. Don't make that.
I'm having a stroke.
Because of that offense.
I don't mean to laugh at you having a stroke, but
I'm not calling anybody. Like, raise both arms if you like. I can't. All right. Anyways, strokes are not funny.
No, they're not.
no.
Kristen, keys to the game.
Me?
Oh, I started with you last week and you didn't like that. All right.
It's T-Nick's turn.
All right, Nick.
Well, the first key for me, takeaways. We got to get takeaways because evidently the defense is going to win the game. Offense ain't going to win the game. Our offense is shitty. So takeaways. That's the first key. Second key, we got to rap when we tackle, man. Eddie Jackson can't be out there hugging people like last game. Oh my God, he missed the tackle so bad last time. He was hugging dude and he was up here. How do you do that? You got to wrap that dude, tackle him, drive him to the ground. So that's the second key. They got to tackle. The third key is one of the same keys that I said last time. The communication between Nick Foles and Matt Nagy has to get better. It has to. But I mean,
They got to at least have the same menu.
Yes.
Baconator, yes, Baconator.
Right. Somebody has the breakfast and someone has the dinner. I need the
Like,
full menu.
you're like, God damn it, it's 12 o'clock. Muffins. Go there, order muffins. There's no McGriddles after 12. Still get a McMuffin. You can't get a McGriddle after 12. That's what I've heard.
So that communication has to be better. We can't have no shit like, we return we get yardage on the fake punt and then call a timeout. You can't do that. You're killing momentum. Nick Foles has to call the fucking play. So that communication has to get better. But that's three keys. So I'm saying that if those things don't happen, which I kind of don't think they will,
Probably won't.
I hate to say it, but we're looking at about 28-17 Minnesota.
Speaking of that, has anybody noticed that the defense is giving up a little bit more points, a little bit more? I mean, they're probably getting tired, like not necessarily injuries, but hurt is piling up.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are playing hurt
You're
at
right.
this point. Not injured where they can't play, but they're all hurt.
Yeah.
And then the offensive scoring is going opposite direction.
Damn, how far is it gonna go in the opposite direction though?
Well, what did they score last time?
We can do negative. Can we?
3?
Do they have negative plays? No.
Shit, it's gonna have to.
Seems like it. I mean, all right, Kristen.
All right. So my keys are the same thing. Run plays to fit what your offense can do. It's not much, so keep it simple. Kirk Cousins is going to throw it to you, so be ready. And
Don't bat down any ball.
right. Catch it.
Yeah.
It's going to come. He is going to throw it to you, so be ready and catch it and score. Don't go to the 20-yard line because Rashad Cowher is going to run into Allen Robinson and they won't get the playoff again. Or Nick Foles is the snap is gonna be bad and he's gonna panic and just throw it to Cordero. So just score once you get the interception. And my third key is Cairo Santos, Pat O'Donnell, and a little bit of Dwayne Harris, special teams. Continue doing what you do. You're the most consistent. Now that Tegan's gone, you're the most consistent part of the team.
Seagrams.
And he still don't really do that much.
That you didn't have to. It didn't take much. Just catch it. That's all we were asking for.
Right. Just catch.
We weren't asking for returning for touchdowns. We weren't asking for any yards. Just catch it.
Just catch it.
That's all. So I mean, he was golden as soon as he got here. Dwayne Harris, one of the most popular people in town right now because he catches it.
Yeah.
I say all that to say that it is the return of everything. It's the return of the offense, return of Mac. He's going to get to Kirk Cousins, and he's going to get a sack, and he's going to strip him and recover.
Strippers, yes.
Strippers. Oh. And so I think the Bears win 24-17.
All right. I like that. 3 keys to the game: offense, defense, special teams. Count them. 1, 2, 3. I'm going Bears 28. Vikings 27. Another nail biter, folks. Except we come out on top this week. Monday night at home. They're playing for just their balls at this point. You know what I mean? Like,
go out on the bye on a high note.
Just respect for yourself and just go.
Shut up your fans.
Shut your fans up. Shut us up. You never do that, but I'm just saying, like, please.
I'm never gonna shut up.
Never.
But I mean, like, at least let's have a good week.
Let's have a good week. Speaking of good weeks, before we get to that Bears game, Saturday, Kristen, you have some very cool things going on.
Yes. Nonprofit called Be the Miracle, where our goal is to develop youth leaders that are going to help us take back and rebuild our communities and end the cycle of violence in the city of Chicago. So we have our first virtual fundraiser this weekend on Saturday, November 14th. Starts at 5:30 with a virtual party with yours truly, Mr. Emilio Bucks, providing the sounds, and he's also producing the webinar for us. And so you can register for free, and we also have raffle tickets for some great prizes. We have a silent auction. So you can just go to our website, www.be-miracle.org. And please join us, help us. We promote financial literacy, education, higher education. We have Be the Scholars. We give away computers. We just do a lot because we're trying to help our young people in the city of Chicago, and they need us, and we need you. So please join us.
Absolutely. Very well spoken, Christian. Thank you for that. Um, I believe the children are the future. The rest.
Teach them well. Let them lead the way.
That's right.
And then don't wait on a miracle, be the miracle.
All right. You damn right. All right. And so with that being said, this is Emilio Bucks signing off for the Chicago Clubhouse on behalf of Christian Petit and the notorious T Nick. Fingers.